quick thing I wanted to talk about is automated unit testing and how we're going to use it for assignment number 1 and lab for week 4. And there is a prerequisite video that I would like you to watch. And if you go into your Blackboard shells, you should see it under videos. And it's called Automated Testing Required for Assignment 1 and Lab 4. This gives you an overview of what is automated testing, JUnit tests. They're very valuable on the industry. There's an entire movement called test-driven development, where you actually build these tests first, and then you would create the code to make the test pass. And if you do that, it's really good at fleshing out all of the requirements for a particular product. And it also helps build a stable, maintainable code base. A lot of stuff we do academically is very small, but when you get into very large code bases, having a suite of automated tests can actually really speed up the development process. So to use the automated tests, I've built out, first in assignment number 1, you need to create a student class. I'm not going to tell you how to do a student class, but there is a pre-built series of tests that you can use. And if we go to the requirements here, oops, here we go. So in assignment number 1, it talks about this idea of a student. One of the things you need to create is a student class, and this is what you're going to hand in for your lab. And the student class, it describes it here. Every student, so think of yourself, you know, they must have a first name, a last name, a street address, a city, postal code, a major that they're studying. Actually, I think we'll just remove that right now. I got rid of that requirement. A student number, and the date you enrolled at the college, and the birthday, and the ability to store if the student's in good standing. So the idea here is it's the Boolean type of thing, either in good standing, true, or you are not in good standing, false. And if you read through this document here, which we posted shortly, what it's going to talk about is, here's all the methods that you need to have. So the first one here is a constructor. So your method for the student class needs to have a constructor. The constructor must accept arguments in the following order. So first name, then last name, then street address. I mean, you can read through it all. For any of the dates, I'm requiring you to use a local date object. And in here, listed below, it's going to list out all the various methods that you need to create. So along with the typical get and set methods, right? So here's like a whole bunch of set methods all in one. Get year born. What's input is a student's birthday. This method returns the year they were born. So you have to figure out how to extract a year from a local date object. And what you're going to be given to do this with is a suite of automated tests. So you're going to be given this, unit test package. And in here, you can see that it sets up, before each test, it sets up a new student object. And the new student has a first name, a last name, a street address, a city, a postal code, a local date for when they're born, and a local date for when they started school, and a student number. So your class must accept the arguments in the same order. And if it does, then you'll be able to run these tests. So before each test is run, there'll be a new student created. And then this first test, it's a very simple test, right? So when we created a student, their first name's Barb. So this test here says the expected result is Barb. And we run student.getFirstName. So we use the getFirstName method. It should return the string Barb. And so the test will assert that the expected result, Barb, is indeed equal to the result that was provided, which is hopefully also Barb. So if I run these tests right now, and the way I can run my tests is I'm going to go run test file. So you can see down here they're running. And if I open the test results, I can see all of my with the code that I created. Now, if you have an error in your code, if somewhere your code doesn't match the requirements given here, and I'll show you an example of what that could be or how this will behave. Let's go to the student. So in here where we return the first name, maybe for some reason I add in an exclamation mark because I really want to emphasize their name. I don't know why I would do that, but let's say I did that. Now, if I go back to my test file and I run my tests, what we're going to see is that that one test failed. So you can see all the ones that passed, but this one test failed. Let's see if I can. Oh, can't zoom in there. Sorry, it won't let me zoom. But what it says here is test set first name. I guess it's going to get it in a couple spots because I use it a couple different ways. But test get first name. It failed. It expected Barb, and you see, you can use these square brackets to indicate it was expecting nothing else. But what it received was Barb with an exclamation mark. So that's how the system is going to provide you feedback on strings. It'll do a similar thing for numbers and whatnot. So if I go back to my class, I'm like, oh, okay, the test says that shouldn't be there. Save. I go back, I run my tests, and they should all pass, which they do. And I can look here and see that they're all green. So to set this up, what you need to do is, let's go here and we'll create a new project, and it's going to be a Java application, and we'll call it assignment 1. And in your assignment number 1, you can right click and add a Java class or a student object, right? So again, the idea of a class is that it's going to hold all the information we need to know about a student. And I'm not going to show you the code. That's what you have to build. But what you can do to use the class that I provided is if you right click on your student class, if you go down to tools and you come over here to create/update tests, just leave it all default and say, okay. What you'll get is this test file. Okay. What I'd recommend doing is everything below where it says public class student test is really the test I need you to run. So go into the file that I provided you. And we'll go down to the same spot here. So just after the test, or the class is set up. And I'm going to, highlight, wait a second, I think I just messed it up here. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to highlight all the lines of code right down at the end. I hit copy, right? So I just did a Control-C. And I'll go to my new file. And I'll scroll down to the end, and I'm going to say paste. So I'll import a couple classes, and now I'm ready. And now what you'll see is all the tests will fail. You can see all these little reds. They're all going to fail. If I try to run this file, it'll blow up. See, so no test passed, 30 caused an error. So what that means is none of these tests are currently passing. So then I would go in and I'm going to create my code now. I go back to my student class. I'm like, okay, well, I can create my instance variables. I'll create my constructor. And then as I start adding method by method, I can go back and rerun these tests. And every time I run one of the tests, it should work. You'll see the new tests are passing. So that's all you need to do for lab of week 4. And we're going to be doing similar things for students, instructors, and courses throughout assignment 1. So hopefully you're going to enjoy this. Please stop by my office hours if you have any questions, or put your stuff on GitHub and email me and ask me questions. I'm happy to help. Sorry I couldn't be in class today. Thank you.